Hello, everyone. I'm Chaplain Dan Bonner, the chaplain at our assisted living community here at the Wesleyan at Australia, and I'm privileged to share a few words with the Wesleyan today. We all know a good deal about the way our community with senior adults is organized. Most of us even know what our goals are. It's an extraordinary community. And now, Sue and I are privileged to live in the Wesleyan. We moved into one of the cottages 7 months ago, at the same time that I was asked to serve as the part-time chaplain at the assisted living. So I get a double dose of blessing from the Wesleyan. But I'd like to share with you today a word about what we as the Wesleyan community, the family of the Wesleyan, what we could do in a day when, yes, we're dealing with certainly the anxiety around the COVID-19 pandemic. All of us are aware of the restrictions that puts on us. But I want you to know, too, that there's another issue that's before us. It's heavy on my heart, and I suspect many of yours. And that is that, if you forgive chaplain talk, I believe God is calling us, all of us, to a season of reassessment of the role that race plays in our culture. The Wesleyan has long stood to be open to all people. And in that spirit, I'd like to say that along with my chaplain colleagues, Paulette Bilby, our chaplain and spiritual life director, Inel Claypool, and Chaplain Larry Zabsik of our hospice ministry, all of us stand ready to have conversations with you from a Christian perspective about developing a new sense of beloved community that includes all people. At the Wesleyan, yes, but first of all, in each of our hearts and minds. How does that happen? I am aware that one of the great books written about the early days of the American experiment in democracy was written in the 19th century, 2 books actually, in 1835 and 1840 by Alexis de Tocqueville, a French historian and political writer who trekked across the United States and this new country was so impressionable, so impressive to him. He wrote about the distinctive potentials that we have over other cultures in Europe and other parts of the world. He talked about one of the great assets that America has are in what he called the voluntary associations in his classic books, Democracy in America. Those voluntary associations, if you get right down to it in Georgetown and in the Wesleyan community and family, are groups of us who gather together for like purposes. I want to suggest in this word to the Wesleyan that I and the other chaplains, led by Chaplain Claypool, stand ready to help any of you who would like to gather, even by Zoom these days, until we can gather face to face again, to learn about, talk about, examine ourselves on the issue of race in our lives. The voluntary associations that are so much a part of the Wesleyan, be they chapel fellowships or study groups, or could be a chicken foot group. If you'll ask one of the chaplains, we'd be happy to facilitate that discussion. I'm convinced there's probably no more important topic God is giving us today than reconciling and reforming how race need not divide us in this country. Have a blessed day.